Now, before I say anything, I just wanted to say that this video was originally going to be a She-Hulk rant, but I'm putting that off till next week because I just got back from the cinema and I saw this movie called Beast, and there was just so many things in this movie that I just had to talk about. I couldn't wait for it. So I've put off the She-Hulk rant for next week, and I'll be focusing on Beast at the moment, and how Beast basically succeeds at everything a movie like this should be. And in my personal opinion, I feel Beast is a return to glory, in a way, as in, like, what Jaws left behind, Beast improves upon it, and creates its own legacy, while still respecting its counterparts. Now, I won't lie that I went into this movie with basically no expectations. I saw the trailer and I thought it looked fun, but I didn't think it would be anything spectacular or anything that special. After all, we get so many just normal, schlocky animal monster movies, as in Anaconda, Lake Placid, and all this horror spider movies that have been plaguing us silver screens, but hey, we move. Now, this movie was a bit of a shock because it's been a fair bit ever since a major studio like Universal has taken a step in the horror animal genre. Last time Universal did it on this bigger scale was probably the Jaws franchise, and I don't think anything ever since has been able to go toe to toe with Jaws. And I feel that Beast, after watching it, is as good as Jaws in so many aspects. I know the film has just been recently released, but I just could not wait to talk about this. I feel that Beast is an improvement upon what horror animal movies are now today. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Comparing something like this to Jaws, one of the best pieces in film history, is a huge stretch, but hear me out on this. This is an incredible movie on its own, and I must say that despite being an animal horror movie, where most of them you feel like it's just a Jaws knockoff, this one feels like its own unique thing and does so many things to differentiate itself from Jaws, and it's certainly spectacular. One thing that I must say is really impressive is the way the film is shot. It is absolutely beautiful, and it complements the style absolutely fantastically. Well, you see, most of the film is done in one take, as there's multiple one takes going on, where you get to see the characters moving around, the camera's moving, you're moving in and out of like cars, trees, in the middle of the action, the horror. It's a nice build up, and I feel this works in similar ways to the Jaws effect from Jaws, obviously, where the camera was the POV of the shark. This time, you don't feel like you're the POV of the animal, but you're the POV of yourself, as if you've been plopped inside a movie, and you are interacting with the horrors that our characters are interacting with. Like, this subtle but perfectly shot style managed to make you feel like you're really there. You feel the heat on your back, you feel the pain the characters go through, you feel the claustrophobia when you're underneath or inside the car, you feel the pain when the lion scratches or bites someone, you feel the power of when that thing is over someone and it's charging towards you, you feel the adrenaline. This movie is incredible at immersing you, and it's that subtle camera movement that also keeps you hidden, just like the Jaws effect, where you don't see the shark but you see its POV. It uses you as if you're in the movie, and when it moves around, it's giving you a wide scope of the area. And when the lion is not on screen, you feel that sense of dread when you just know it's out there but you can never pinpoint where, and just that thought alone can be terrifying, and that helps complements the film's horror value, which many animal horror films lack completely, and this film completely excels at. It's return to form, just like in Jaws. It puts the fear back into animals, and the way it does it, it's like incredibly unique to its own thing, because it's not like Jaws where it's just an unstoppable force that keeps coming. No, it's like a sign of pure rage. And the thing is, we do see the lion get hurt and we see it have to back off. But I feel like that makes it even more terrifying, the fact that no matter what you throw at it, it's still gonna get back up and come after you, and you'll never see it coming. And that's just an incredibly terrifying emotion and thing to see, with the perfectly chosen music complementing the scenery. It's incredibly on edge. However, one thing it does to help separate itself from Jaws is that it adds so much more character to the lions itself. After all, the movie opens on a single take prologue, which is incredibly well shot and incredibly tense. It sets the mood perfectly throughout the rest of the film. We see poachers hunting lions, and they've killed a whole pride except one male. One male has gotten away, and there is that tension there of, as they're moving out, you could just slowly see people getting picked off one by one, and you don't hear them. You don't hear the screams until it's too late, and that is just incredibly terrifying because they are huge. It sets the groundwork for this animal, because now we know why it's killing, and it just makes the animal feel real. Because I'm impressed with the way the filmmakers went about portraying the lions, because they've portrayed them incredibly realistic. They're not like Jaws, where they are essentially just a massive slasher. No, it's an actual animal. It has interests. It's getting hurt, and it won't always fight, but it will always be. It has that grudge that still makes it like incredibly something to fear. It's aggressively hunting our characters because it doesn't know any better. It's an animal. It wants revenge for losing its pride. So you both don't want the characters to die, but you understand why the lion's doing it. And the fact that we have a reason, and it's a pretty understandable reason, adds to that terror. And it's the fact that we know what it is, but we never fully see its full capabilities until the end. That just keeps that mystery element as it's stalking through the long grass, as it's hidden in the background. You just see it far away, and that's that fear of it knowing it can easily get you. It's watching you. It can easily grab you and like maul you to death, but it just chooses not to. Adding that personality of a sick, twisted killer. He's playing with his prey. He's not doing this for self-necessity. He's doing this out of pure revenge. And that is incredibly terrifying, because although we know what the animal is and what the animal's doing, we don't know anything about like the animal, because it's still a mystery in a way. It's an evolution upon Jaws, because at that point we've already seen Jaws. We know that the mystery elements sort of run dry, so adding the little bit of personality into the lion helps to keep us invested and fearful of it, and knowing that it could literally come from anywhere, any time, and you aren't strong enough to fight it off, it will put you on edge. Especially if you have the biggest screen watching it, with the most extreme sound you can. And can we just take a second to appreciate what they were able to accomplish with such a small budget of around $36 million? And for a big blockbuster movie similar to this, that's an incredibly low price. Hell, She-Hulk has had a way bigger budget, and they can't produce anything even quarter this good. And that just goes to show it doesn't take a budget to make something good. It takes time and it takes effort to make something good. And I just want to say the effects in this are incredibly stellar. Sometimes they can look a bit off, but considering how much it costed compared to like The Lion King, these lions look just as real and they feel real. And that's just the way it's shot and the way it's portrayed. It's incredibly realistic in behavior and movement, which helps sell the realism of it, and the incredible effects complement it really well. And I like the fact that they don't like focus on the violence of it, because the fear doesn't come from the violence of the act. It comes from the unknowingness of it, and it comes from the unexpectedness of it. There is a scene in this movie that got me incredibly on the edge of my seat, because everyone is at this like school, everyone is like out scattering around trying to look for things, someone's injured, and slowly, without any suspenseful music, creating more dread, we see the lion come back all burnt up, walking through the building of the poachers and just snooping around. knowing that there's someone inside, and the characters have to slowly move despite them being in pain. And that would not have worked if it wasn't down to the main thing that helps this movie work, and that's the characters. There's not a big cast, but that works just as well. There's 4 main characters, one being the dad Idris Elba acted, his 2 daughters, and his friend, the uncle. And they were all, most of them were really good, especially Idris Elba. He plays his role perfectly. We don't even need to see a backstory, because there's a scene where he's explaining to the uncle what he felt, and they could have easily put in a backstory scene, but they went with the Silence of the Lambs approach and just let him talk it out. And what we see, we get the emotion from his face, from his eyes. We see the sadness, we feel the happiness, we feel the dread, we feel the regret, all in the performance and the tone of voice. I didn't know Idris Elba could act that well, and this film just proves that he's a really good actor. Not to mention his other people around him, such as the uncle. He's played really well. You buy the fact that he's a poacher, essentially. That's literally what they call it, a poacher's poacher. Which is a really strange idea. That's something that's not really glossed up upon. I think that would have been nice for it to be mentioned a bit more, but then again, it helps complement the runtime, which isn't too long. It's not like The Batman, where it's like 3 hours of a lot of things that could have been left out. But no, it takes its runtime perfectly well. It uses it to its fullest. It takes full advantage of it. It knows how to build fear, and it knows how to create interesting and dynamic characters by having them have weaknesses, having them have strength, and just making them feel human by the fact that they're incredibly flawed. Because we're all flawed deep down, and it's those flaws that make our strengths even stronger. And that was just such a beautiful element to see it play. And Idris Elba, by the end, you totally buy the fact that he could wrestle that lion. And the best part is, he's not a superhero like in any other media would have done it, as the superhero fights the monster and the superhero overcomes the monster. No, he is battered and beaten. He doesn't even stand a chance against the lion and still goes up against it, and he gets torn apart. And the best part is that he's saved by 2 other lions from a pride we saw earlier. It was set up that the fact that the lions would defend their pride by attacking the intruder lion. And to see that happen was incredible satisfaction. And the way Idris Elba passes out lets us worry about him, because we've gotten invested in him. So to see him wake up and actually go to that tree with his daughter, it was an incredibly satisfying emotion, because we care about these characters, we care what they go through, and we care about what happens. Now, there's so much to gush over that I probably will make more videos on this movie, but this is just a quick review, not scripted at all, just straight from the heart. And I gotta say, this movie impressed me. It's probably the biggest surprise of the year, with incredibly compelling characters, incredibly engaging action and horror, and just a return to form for animal thrillers. This is the new Jaws in a way, and I hope it's not ruined by constant sequels. I don't want a sequel to this. This is a one and done movie. That should how it be done. It deserves to be seen on the biggest screen possible. It's such a thriller. It's such an amazing, like, roller coaster of emotions, and I want to hear what you guys think of it. If you guys have seen it, let me know what you think of it, because it's definitely worth admiring for yourself. And if you have anything to disagree or agree with me, let me know, and I'll be sure to read it. But yeah, just a quick review for The Beast. Definitely watch it. It's certainly a masterclass in filmmaking. It ticks off so many good things for film. It defines what the genre of animal thrillers are. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you're thinking about not seeing it, go watch it. I don't care, you just watch it. So now that I got the good out the way, I think next time I'll be talking about the terrible in She-Hulk. What have I gotten myself into?